Our viewers told us which board games they've been playing and why, and we picked out several to share. There's some old favourites, a dash of the newest hotness, and several surprises in this month's People's Choice selections. Hello, I'm Matthew. Let's get right into Fit to Print, which is a tile laying game for the whole family, where players simultaneously collect newspaper tiles, stacking them on their desks until they think they have what they need to make the perfect front page. They will not have done that. Then they yell layout and begin to lay out the page by carefully considering the placement of centerpieces, articles, photographs and advertisements. When everything is just right, it won't be. They yell print to be the first off the presses and gain their choice of centerpiece for the next round. Viewer Rachel P comments that the forest animals have all contributed their news, photos and advertisements, but you have 5 minutes to sort them onto your tiny 3D desk and then lay out more compelling paper than the badger next door. Lots of fun. You want to know something about Fit to Print? Originally, the theme was going to be cryptids and like a cryptid newspaper, like Bigfoot and all that type of stuff. I know this because I was going to do a lot of the research for all the articles and stuff. And while that didn't happen, they went with forest animals. It's a great fun little game. I own it. I really enjoy Fit to Print. It's stressful and, real-time play, but it does it in a way that is okay with me because it's kind of just fun. That makes sense. We don't win that game, you go, okay, you play the next game. Because the actual activity of grabbing all these different pieces and then putting them down on your board and then trying to place them onto your thing first to make the best page, to get the best combos, is just fun. And I think that really is what makes the game work. But what made this episode work is the first sponsor, Empire's End, coming to retail from Brotherwise Games on November 20th. This is a civ building game, but a different kind of one. As the leader of a grand civilization at the height of its influence, it's up to you to save it from collapse by avoiding as many disasters as you can. But sometimes succumbing to a disaster may prove beneficial. In Empire's End, 2 to 4 players compete to keep calamity at bay by cleverly combining reverse bidding with engine building, long-term planning, and giving the game a unique strategic depth. The result is a game with a quick tempo, abundant tension, and multiple challenging paths to victory. As disasters befall an empire, its people grow in wisdom and resilience and gain a new ability, an innovation that reflects their empire's ability to adapt in the face of challenging times. Follow the link in this video's description to find Empire's End once it reaches stores. Next up, our viewers have been playing Wingspan's European expansion. Its first expansion includes varied birds of Europe with a variety of new abilities, including a number of birds with round end abilities, abilities that increase interaction between players, and birds that benefit from excess cards or food. Along with the new bonus cards, they're designed to be shuffled into the original deck of cards and cards from other expansions as well. Christina W says, I love the theme and the mechanism, and I can keep playing this over and over. Yeah, I saw quite a few reviews for this, and I feel like the overarching opinion was cool, more stuff, more birds, more abilities. People were quite excited because there's more bonus tiles to go for, and just more. And I think in a game like Wingspan, that just makes a lot of sense. Just more. That is what people want. Also, purple eggs. There's purple eggs in this and people like those too. Next up, we have My Island, which is modelled after 2020's My City. My Island is a competitive legacy game in which players develop their own unique islands from connected hexagons. Over 24 games, experience the history of your island and discover its secrets, with each of these individual games featuring new rules and game materials, and which you will permanently change the island, truly making it yours. Drew A says that when we heard that My City was getting a sequel, we knew it was an instant buy. But hexes? Will that work, we wondered? Answer, like magic. It has the magic of the previous game, but with sufficient differences to keep it fresh and exciting. Can't wait to play through the entire campaign through. Look, I don't want to give too many of my own personal opinions about which game is or isn't in the top 3 games of the entire year, but My Island certainly is. I absolutely loved My Island. I played through the whole thing, the secrets that get unveiled and revealed and the things that are happening in the game. It's just absolutely wonderful. If I had to pick between all three in the series, My City, Roll and Build, and My Island, I think My Island really is just the superb finale of that trilogy. I hope there's a My Island Roll and Build. I hope there's a next in the series. It's just one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. I absolutely loved it. Next we have Tiger and Dragon. Players in Tiger and Dragon play tiles from their hand to participate in waves of attack and defense. Be the first player to empty your hand to score points based on whichever one of 10 scoring cards are in use this round. Shuffle the tiles face down, then each player takes tiles based on their player count, with the round starting player taking one additional tile. At least one tile will remain out, so keep your wits about you while you play. Viewers Main says a strategy game that a wide range of ages can play. We recently played this on a cruise ship where it was perfect having no cards to fly away in the wind. I think one thing that really made Tiger and Dragon stand out to a lot of people is that it's an Oink game that is not in an Oink game sized box. It's in a regular sized board game box. It's the biggest game they've ever done. And you can tell why, because of the components in them. There's like Bakelite real Mahjong tiles in there. And that really surprised a lot of people. But the gameplay is that of a small Oink game in the sense that at its heart, Tiger and Dragon is a card shedding game. I mean, you can shed more cards if your opponents can't play on the card Mahjong tile that you've just played. I play a 6 down of blue, and if they can't play a 6 down of blue and they can't, you get to go again. It's kind of a card shedding game hidden beneath these Mahjong tiles and this kind of like dojo fighting theme. It's just really fascinating to me, this one. So yeah, it's one I want to try. Next is a game I thought I had played, but I don't think I have, because it's Explorers of the North Sea. Explorers of the North Sea is set in the later years of the Viking Age. As ambitious sea captains, players seek out new lands to settle and control. They will need to transport their crew among their newly discovered lands to capture livestock, construct outposts, and fulfill various other goals. So ready the longships, there are new horizons to explore. Greg H says, an older game that is new to me and I find to be seriously underrated, combining tile placement, set collection and pick up and deliver at a lighter weight, makes it easy to table when you want something not too light and not too heavy. For that, I advise a blancmange. I've just not played this one, and I think I would like it. I've seen it described as Carcassonne, the pick up and deliver game, because you're building out this island chain and you don't know how much things are going to score until the end of the game, because the island could get bigger and it's the island times the amount of Vikings or your set collection of different resources that you manage to collect during the game. But the other tactic is that your Vikings can die and they're your meeple, they're your workers. But because it's a Viking game, you score points for having a bunch of dead Vikings at the end. So do you try to go for that and have less actions during the game? It looks fun to me, so I want to try this one out. Cosmoctopus is an engine-building, tentacle-gathering board game for 1 to 4 devotees. Guide Cosmoctopus through the Inky Realm, which is a flexible configuration of tiles to gather resources and obtain powerful cards that represent relics, scriptures, hallucinations, and constellations. Harness the power of these bizarre objects and experiences, craft potent cards and combinations, and be the first to gain 8 tentacles to win. Kathleen L says that this is a light, fun game, plays well with 2, great theme and artwork. I looked at the rules for Cosmoctopus, a worker placement, contract fulfilling game, which really is what Cosmoctopus does. You're placing these devotees out on the board, collecting resources, but you're trying really hard to just maximize what you're doing every turn. And you've got to like go, if I go here, I get 3 of these, and here I get 4 of these, and I can turn 4 of these into 3 of these, and 6 of these, and 9 of these, and I can't have more than 10 on my turn, but this costs 13. So I think I might enjoy this one. Another thing that you'll be sure that I'll enjoy is reading the next sponsor who helped make this episode possible, Imposter from Clarendon Games, a lively after-dinner murder mystery style deduction game in which players use debate, bluff and logic to win points. Players are guests at the Earl of Simpleton's country estate, but some of them are trying to make off with his treasures undetected. Each round, several guests will be chosen to send things out of the castle in the royal mail bag, and the imposters score points for treasures that make their way into it. But that's just the beginning. Now it's time to figure out who put the treasures in there. Are they looking a bit shifty? Are they a bit quick to pass the blame on to others? You have your suspicions, but the only way to unmask the imposter is to follow the link in this video's description to find imposters in stores and online, and then put your deduction and bluffing skills to the test. Talking about imposters and shady backhanded deals, next we have Liberty or Death, the American Insurrection, which features the same card-assisted counterinsurgency game system as the other games in GMT's Coin series. A unique multi-faction treatment of the American Revolution, Liberty or Death, the American Insurrection, will take 1 to 4 players between the lines of clashing red and blue infantry, Native American raids, European politics, British control of the seas, French intervention, damn it! Damn those French and their intervention, and the propaganda war. Viewer Harold B says that this is a unique perspective on the American Revolution. Finally, the native peoples of North America get a voice and a seat at the table. Try winning without them, King George. Try winning anything when you've got the Dutch, the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, everyone's on your back, and you're a colony 3,000 miles away. Calm down. Look, this is meant to be brilliant. It uses naval instead of supply lines, but you've got to do it, and then the French, you've got to wait for them to come into the war, because if they're coming too early, it's not right. You've got to make sure. And from what I understand, as far as the Coin series goes, this one works really well at 2 players because the different factions really partner well together until eventually they backstab each other at the very end. Of course, that's how most coin games work. I'd really like to try this one. It's got a bit more of an involved battle system from what I understand, instead of just a war of attrition in I've got more cubes than you, essentially. There's more of a table, and there's leaders. You can play with different leaders that have special powers in different areas, but it's all run by the same big, robust coin game system. If you want to know more about the coin game system, just tweet at Rodney Smith. He can't shut up about it. The next game that our viewers have been playing is The Road to Canterbury, which surprised me. In The Road to Canterbury, you play a medieval pardoner who sells certificates delivering sinners from the eternal penalties brought on by the 7 deadly sins. You make your money by peddling these counterfeit pardons to pilgrims travelling across the road to Canterbury. Perhaps you can persuade the knight that his pride must be forgiven. Surely the friar's greed will net you a few coins in the end. Now, the comment for this is being written in Chaucer-esque Old English, because, of course, The Road to Canterbury is, the Canterbury Tales by Chaucer. Instead of reading that comment, which is about 3 minutes long, I'm going to just give you a fact about Chaucer, which is you're meant to read him in a Black Country accent. You know my accent? That's the best way to read Chaucer, because my Black Country accent is the oldest accent in Britain, and it's how Chaucer would have spoke. So now you know. But thank you, AS, for your comment. We appreciate it. But as I say, I'm on my own this month and Chaz can't make me do it. Next we have Suspects. Claire Harper takes the stage. Suspects is a range of investigation games with streamlined rules and plots centred on the psychology of characters in the style of Agatha Christie's novels. The first opus will feature the ingenious and fearless Claire Harper in 3 stories that play tribute to the great classics of detective literature. Stephen Waffles, whose comment is in modern day English, so I'll be reading it, says, I bought the game because my family loves mystery and puzzle solving style games. This did not disappoint. The game uses some clever mechanisms to help you narrow down the suspects and solve the case. Do we attempt to solve the case now, risking losing the game, or take another card and get a lower score? I can't say too much about this one because there's a lot of spoilers in it, because it's a murder mystery. There's a solution to these 3 different cases. But I've seen Paula play this and she really liked it. It really feels to me like one of the most authentic solving a mystery games there is out there. It's just really uses your deduction, and there's red herrings, and the answer is in the cards that you read. It is there. And the cool, satisfying thing about this game is at the very end, it'll tell you what the answer is and where those hints and clues were in the cards. So you can look back at the card and go, yeah, he definitely did say that, didn't he? I ignored that he said that, but he did say that. And I just thought that wasn't anything. And that was it. That was the clue. He said, I'm going to murder this person. And I was like, no one would just come out and say it. But he did. I don't know if that's in the game. So it's got like a satisfaction in it as well. And you don't have to destroy anything. So you can just give the game to someone else next. So yeah, I think this is a great series. And I think there'll be more of these to come. And the final game we talk about this month, games that our viewers have been watching that we wanted to talk about, is The Night Cage, which makes sense because the past month was Halloween. And The Night Cage is a fully cooperative horror-themed tile placement game that traps 1 to 5 lost souls within an unnatural labyrinth of eternal darkness, much like working on YouTube. To win, players must each collect a key, find a gate and escape as a group, trapped and crawling your way through a pitch black labyrinth, equipped with nothing but dim candles, and you must work together to explore the maze and escape. Unfortunately, the labyrinth may also be, I don't know, full of monsters who find you delicious. So bear that in mind. Timothy W says that this game was so fun to play during the Halloween season. The unique tile placement mechanism in the game totally sells the fear of meandering around a seemingly endless pitch black labyrinth with only a small candle to light your way a few feet in front of you, while trying to avoid crumbling pathways, pitfalls, and yeah, monsters. I think this game is one of the closest games to a real horror board game that's out there, because it kind of invites the claustrophobic horror of trying to find your way. And the thing is that you've got this small candle which can only illuminate a few different tiles. So if you move too far away, the tiles disappear, and when you go back, they're not the same layout as they were before. And yeah, there's these monsters that are going to come and put your candles out, and you've got to collect these 4 different keys and then find the exit. It's a very simple game at its heart, but it really is kind of freaky and scary in a way. I think it comes really close to being like an authentic horror game, and yeah, it's a good one. That is a sampling of what our viewers have been playing this month. To join the discussion for next episode, follow the link in this video's description to our Patreon to find out how to pick the games featured in the People's Choice. And to see the games on our own personal radars, continue on to this month's On the Radar episode. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you over there.